Mike and Qrash.
Hello, Mike. Been a long
Oh,
time, it seems.
well, you know what? It's been some interesting times,
Yeah.
and we're working on a plan of blowing this up on even a higher level source of media. But we're going to give you something today that you've never seen. Evidence that's more important. How about this? We're going to show the Department of Justice ran this insurrection. Flynn was an instrument of that insurrection. And we're going to take you from insurrection to the brokered convention and Sununu. We're going to show you that it was the DOJ's plan. The fraudulent election was theirs. The Department of Justice is guilty of the insurrection, all of it. But you have to have proof. I'm telling you, we have it here. And it goes back to the Pandora's box. And that's how we're going to start, because that is where it started. Once I had their money laundering network, that's when the DOJ and Mullen came in. And that's when Flynn. Last podcast, what we left you with? We left you with Flynn. We left you in that office, in that Oval Office on December 18th. The implementation of a plan of corrupting our elections, that's the feds, by the way. And we're going to prove you that it was the feds. All right. So let's take a little trip. First, I need you to understand, let's hit doing the laundry trash. We're going to bring you to New Hampshire. We're going to bring you to the money laundering capital of this world, where Pandora's papers track 935 billion. Now, you've heard that before, and you've heard it from me, but you're going to find out where this leads. And you'd have to understand, documenting the change of the hands of the laundering network of the deep state that holds the secrets of the Clintons and the Bushes, the Mossad and the feds, all in the same place. 935 trillion. Musk just saved us, what was it, a billion?
Yeah, a billion, I think.
Right. I'm just giving you 935 trillion of your money. On top of your money, I should say, drug cartels, corrupt governments, and politicians. Okay, hit it, Qrash. Let's take you to Sununu again and the casino. Let's show you the cartel. The cartel in Sununu. That is the money behind the brokered convention.
Am I
You
doing his
understand?
casino? Is that the one
Yeah.
you want?
Yeah, the casino. So, in other words, this is where the money comes from. This is part of the laundering network. And this is what Sununu was doing. This is what I caught when Pence's plane was flying into Granite State Recovery, who got busted again. Turns out the owner, Spofford, got arrested. It's the cartel again. It's Anagos. He owns the building. It's him. It's the Sinaloa cartel. And that's how you get elected. All right, hit the next picture. Let's turn around. And it was Sununu.
Mike, remember, we didn't put these in order.
I know,
Yeah, but
Sununu,
I don't know what.
and
Okay.
there you go. That's the picture.
I'm
Okay,
guessing.
we'll be telepathic. Here you go.
Yeah.
Ready? Wait a minute. You remember that plane that got stopped? That was my evidence. That was Pence hooking up with Anagos at the Granite State Recovery, who was in the Pandora Papers. Who got arrested? The guy who was going to threatening to murder me, throwing a brick through their window of reporters. What did they write? They wrote that Granite State Recovery, Auto Fair, Dartmouth Hospital, everything that I told you that was corrupt, owned by the cartel, there again, they were attacked. And guess what? Now the owner who just bought a $20 million mansion in Miami is getting arrested. What was he, a drug treatment center?
Yeah.
You know why? You know why you're going broke? Medicaid fraud. That's the back door. Treatment centers, hospitals. You're going to see if they really do audits. We'll see what comes from there. Okay. But now I just introduced you to Sununu in the Pandora's box. I think what we turn around and do is let's go back to that December 18th and those screenshots, I think, right? So I want to turn around and tell you what that brings us to. That brings us to December 18th, right?
Wait.
The first, there you go.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
we know now that documents December 18th. And it documents the fact that Flynn reached out to me, and what did I have? I had the Pandora's box. And you're going to hear, hold on, boys and girls, when this comes to an end. More people knew about Pandora's box and who I gave it to and what happened. Very interesting. Now, but he had the evidence, and Flynn had the evidence. It was from that December 18th for those 3 weeks, founding that evidence. Okay, you can hit the next screen. And what did he want? The settlement agreement. Why did he know that? Because he knew the people on the 50 million were the key players in the money laundering network. It was Bill Shaheen, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. It was the IRS, the banking department. It is the essence of what you have to have in control to run a laundering network. For instance, it has trillions, your trillions, which is why you're in a deficit. Okay, hit it, Qrash.
Can I just interject something there?
Yes.
That is not, just to be clarity, for clarity's sake, that is not Flynn. That's Carissa Keschel. Okay, for people that may have not seen that. That text was from Carissa Keschel, who was Sidney Powell's kind of assistant. And
Flynn's, as it turns out. It was Flynn's as it was described to me, and Teresa was Powell, as we find out from Elvire. And then we find out again from Stacy Burke.
And I was going to say, later on, we'll find out that that's kind of, part of, she's going to.
It's an important part of the process, but you're right. But these connections are important. They don't happen by accident. It's impossible. So now we've taken you to December 18th. We're 10-2 to the insurrection with Flynn. And then we go through the cycle of podcasters that were all controlled by the same Flynn network, the same CIA. The still insurrection plan was off and running. Is Flynn still in play? You bet your ass. Is the DOJ still running the show? You bet your ass. Who are they looking for? Oh, I don't know. Lone gunman? Kennedy? Epstein killed himself? I mean, we're shutting doors, boys and girls. In fact, it's when you shut those doors, it means they want those investigations. They want your even questions to end. They don't give you answers. Okay. So through these chains of podcasts that I found and outed, I wind up with Michelle Moore, who turned out to be the biggest fraud of them all. To turn around and me to believe in faith and so forth. They damsel in distress. They target me perfectly. I mean, what's she selling now? Godly Granny. We had a 3-weekend special now. But she was the messenger. All right, hit me the picture with Michelle Moore and Elvire. Notice I found all these perpetrators were coming to me through Michelle. And what did Elvire want, right? He turned around and called me the most important. Let me see, I'll read it. You can pop that up. Is one of the most important men of our time. This video in detail, why he is so. The Flynn network offered him 50 million essentially to shut up and join the dark side. He basically told him to fuck off. No, it wasn't basic. It was straight up. Fuck off. Okay. So now we understand Elvire a little bit. Now, who's Elvire's connected to? Everybody. Here's he with Roger Stone. And yet he's targeting the Flynn network, right? So how does that factor in? Now, let's tell you a little communications between me and Elvire. If you could put up this text messages, right? Now, listen, this is going to come into important play. Now, Elvire, well, you're going to find out. You know who he knows? Matthew. You know where they all started out together? Mickey Klein, Arizona.
Mike, I don't have any text message from Elvire. What?
It's the one that says, Ketchel put me in touch with an outfit based in Tennessee.
Oh, that one? No, I don't have that.
Yes. You don't have that.
No, that's you. I can get it if you want to keep.
I'm gonna, if you can put it, you can look for it there. Listen, I'm sending it to you again. Just
no, don't send me nothing. It won't come through.
I'm gonna read it to you.
I have it.
Okay, all right. Let me read it to you.
Yeah.
Now, what you have to understand now, he's communicating me with on the phone. They want to make a movie of my life, right? But this is what he has to send me. Ready? Flynn's business partner, Boone Cutler, relocated from Nevada to Tennessee. Ketchel put me in touch with an outfit based in Tennessee, which utilizes my services in providing intelligence on a contract basis. I'm very good at what I do. Flynn retained our services to provide intelligence on certain people and entities. I caught the crew I work for manipulating my reports to reduce risk. They are formal special ops folks. Remember, special ops. And one of their team is Seth Ketchel, who had an affair with ended his marriage. Well, you remember the affair was, remember Carissa Ketchel? That was the wife. And in communications with me. So now we've got the Ketchels and we've got Elvire with inside information on that network. And we even have Stacy Burke reference Carissa. We're in a Flynn network. I quit working for that team after they gave me the runaround and wouldn't pay me for my work. This whole thing is a massive mess. Goes all the way to Sidney Powell, who Carissa works for. Cutler in the middle of J6. None of them were arrested and went to jail. Well, that's correct, including him. Okay, Qrash. Now, so in other words, this is who wants to do a movie. Now, you hit me one with the picture with Michelle, and we have Matthew. So in other words, once I shot that down, they threw me another damsel in distress.
Sorry, it popped off there.
Okay.
Damsel.
I told you he was in distress. A damsel in distress was Matthew. And he was bringing me the cartel, the Sinaloa cartel. They knew they needed my help they understood that I tracked down part of the Pandora's boxes through the LLCs, dummy corporations, trusts, and so forth, and uncovered the politicians and the cartels with their massive assets. They wanted me to do the same thing. He called me there. It was the bait on the hook. Rather than me go to make a movie, if you want me to fight a cartel, hey, shit, I'm all in. In fact, you've seen them take pictures of me coming off the plane and let everybody know I was there for the cartel, which is a good way to get your ass killed or an alibi.
Right.
Listen, we know they weren't sending me there to save the day. They were selling me a cartel. And guess what? If you hit me this with the aerial, aerial and the Planet Fitness. Ariel had already put out the Planet Fitness thing with the Planet Fitness and he put out the names of the Arizona politicians that I was to uncover. They already had it and he posted it. They were supposed to wait for me to get plugged and then they would say, well, we got it all once. Right. So they knew. How did he know the Arizona politicians by name? How did they know Ariel know about Planet Fitness? It was the money laundering network with the deep state and the cartel in particularly. That's Mike Rendell, who's got 900, what, million, is it? A billion?
Yeah, 800 million.
800 million. I don't know. So you see what I'm saying? Rendell was part of this too. They were all supposed to listen. If I go away, think of the problem it solves all the way around. And you know who else I'm a problem for? Let's think about it. December 18th with Flynn, right? With the Pandora's box. Oh, wait a minute. Who's in the box? Oh, God's the box. Sununu. That means I'm a problem from both of them. And guess what? They were both in Arizona. But we're still getting to Arizona. Who's sending me to Arizona? Michelle sending me to Arizona. That's how we got there. You know what the purpose was? To murder my ass. Is there another purpose? They already had that identification. You know what they didn't know? Brokered convention. That's exactly right. You see, they knew each other. There's connection, and they both worked for Flynn. That's it. That's it. And I guarantee, what did they say? He was they were both in Arizona together, Mickey Klein's, and they were talking. We had Ukrainian money launderers. That was them together. Right. We got to know that Matthew isn't connected to Flynn. This is a guy that would put a bullet in you just to be in the club. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we have the meeting. In the meeting, Let's remember, and now it's all documented. It was all documented to all those screenshots. Now listen, what did I tell you? I confronted with a Flynn guy that confronted me right in the beginning. If you have that shot of that guy, this was the biker guy that I was confronted for. I still don't know his name. That was Matthew posted that picture.
No, we know his name.
What's his name?
Mark. I don't know how you pronounce it, but Chazen, Chazen. Mark Chazen.
Well, we know the other woman. Kids for beer.
Yeah, did he?
I think this is the prom photo. But the other guy I want you to remember is Jeff Greenspan. That was the guy that Liz had brought with him. All these people are witnesses. Shelby Bush, Liz Harris, they're all witnesses. What did we come in there? Listen, they made this meeting. I made it. I took a right turn. For all of a sudden, I get off the plane, I go brokered convention. Why? Because I saw that smug-faced Sununu. I could read him. You saw him go around with Mickey Haley. You have that picture of Haley and Sununu? It was
Yeah.
Sununu behind Haley. When everybody's screaming that Haley should get out of the race, you know what they knew? They knew the courts. If they were going to miss, they know the brokered convention. That's right. I stopped the brokered convention. Let's put everybody under oath. And don't you know the DOJ had that tape the next day, which is why it took 5 hours to get a cop after 4 911s to come and see me. That was who behind it. Who benefits from the brokered convention? Like this McMahon who's running a little blackmail operation. I know your shit. The thing here is they won't mention Sununu, but they'll talk about Flynn being president.
I don't want you to forget you had
You know
this.
what? I'm glad you put it up. So as long as we're still with Michelle Moore, as long as we're headed to Arizona, where suddenly she comes up with 5,000, somebody gave me 5,000 to go. Boy, you know what that tells you? Boy, did they want to plant my ass.
Yeah.
So they put me on that plane. And you know what? Later on, we find out the situation with Michelle was confronting Ariel, who I said was CIA. Well, it turns out that afterwards, she came up with that on her own. Interesting. Why hasn't anybody asked her what that meant? All right.
She
So
denies
now,
it. She denies
so
it.
we're in the brokered convention, right? I'm talking to Stacy. So we have a little bit of an argument, me and the Hell's Angels asshole, right? And Flynn. Then I turn around to Shelby Bush, real simple and directly. Were you running the broken? Yes. So in other words, are you thinking you're going to be hung out to dry? Are they going to hold you responsible? 100%.
So she's admitting this to you.
It's on tape and they all have it. She admitted there was a broken convention. It was already on the move. Already on the move. It was Flynn's operation and Flynn got connected with Sununu. How did Sununu and Flynn get together? Do you remember the Pandora's box? One asshole's in it, one asshole wanted it. Flynn took that evidence that would incriminate Sununu. All of a sudden, Sununu's running for president and carrying Pinhead. So all of a sudden, if Haley and Sununu take the top, Flynn's protected. Protected. And here's the Department of Justice, what they wanted to have. Okay, so who had motive? They would have been the only ones. Who hung around? They did. That brokered convention. Now think about it. 98% CIA, these podcasters, that's who controlled this insurrection. And what did they give me? Harris, too. They gave me the election fraud audit that Flynn's people audited. The people in that room was involved. They talked about the people by name. They corrupted the audit to create false evidence to show that the insurrection. They did the same thing with Tina Peters tried to do in Colorado. They were successful in Arizona. They were successful in Michigan and Georgia, and they brought that to President Trump. What then did they do it? On December 18th, the day they called me, Pandora's box meets insurrection. Why? because it was the evidence that could have stopped it. You want to know if that evidence is true? Keep listening. You're going to see it. You're going to see from the other side. So, and why you give me it? They gave us Stacy Burke. I remembered the story, but never put the name to it, just that Joe Flynn and his Praetorian guards went after this woman's tape and so forth. Find out Stacy Burke is being mentioned here. I still didn't connect the name, but they're saying she has the evidence against Flynn. She has the evidence of the voter stuff. She's running out of money. She has her stuff in storage. We have to get that. I'm going, who the hell is Stacy Burke? She verifies the corruption audit, and now Flynn's going after her. So I reach out. So in other words, just before we get to Stacy, let's keep going through Michelle, because now Michelle, so in other words, understand what happened in this meeting. It'll prove the brokered convention. It'll prove Flynn was behind it. And as a bonus, you get the Arizona audit, which is the key evidence that they used to Trump for insurrection. It was the plan. It was the full circles. And these two assholes made. Why? Because Flynn was connected to both, and it was the same team. Why did I go to Arizona? Because it was the same team, Flynn team, that wanted to stuff my ass. So when I took a right turn, hit the brokered convention, you know what they all said? How the hell did he know? How did he put it together? They think Trump sent me, which is why everybody attended the meeting. Not a single complaint. And with just saying hello, all the little bastards confessed, because they thought it was Trump, including Stacy Burke thereafter. As far as not confessing, talk to me what happened. And we have it on direct messages. We're going to share that with you today. You understand? Full circle. Now, but that was the reason why. And that was thereafter why the CIA had met me twice. It's why all of a sudden we went from 40,000, 30,000 to 350,000. Why?
You mean views on, you're not.
Views, right. We suddenly became very interesting. You know why? Because they wanted to know how we stopped the brokered convention. All right, you know what? Hit the Trump brokered convention, please. You want to know if it worked? He saw it. You know who told Trump? Those assholes. Why? It was the right move. If you're going to catch us, Flynn's going to turn around and say, hey, listen, they were going to do this. He stopped it. That meeting stopped it. That tape stopped it. Those witnesses stopped it. I mean, what happened on that very day? Matthew lent me a nice note. Can you show me some note? Right on my door. Everybody gave me a parade going there. Sinaloa cartel. Now, right after the meeting, they slapped this on my door. Now they want me out of town and stuff my ass. Wait a minute. What happened here? Who did I offend? Okay, hit it. So in other words, it didn't go well for them. So the minute I did that, they had to get out. Threaten and it was more tweets and it was more texts about killing my ass and how. But listen, it's going to any pinhead can have a gun. Otherwise, it would take exactly 10 New York waiters, and I'm 70, almost. Okay, hit me with a Michelle and Good Morning, Matthew. This is Matthew now telling Michelle. No, I already told Michelle that our boy Matt, I know I'll try to read it from there, turned to everybody. Let me see. Good morning, Matthew. Mike says you recorded Saturday's meeting with Shelby Bush. Please upload to your folder inbox ASAP. I want to listen. Believe me, that little bastard has a tape. They all have tapes. This guy recorded everything and never even told anybody he had a tape. Liz Harris recorded and was wearing a wire. Liz especially told me not to record, that she would take care of it. Right. As soon as she said, don't record it, go, I'm bringing it. Although I regret ever listening to her at this point, I'm not happy with how I'm being put in a corner, because I was truthful at the meeting when Shelby Bush asked me who was the leak. I got Liz to confess that she told me to make the post about Shelby. So now Liz thinks I don't have her back. Now, can we have a definition of moronic? He turned Liz Harris gives him dirt on Bush to push out on the internet. tells him, swears him the secrecy that he got it from her. Shelby Bush looked at him in the meeting and goes, okay, who gave you that information? I'm telling you, she sweated him for about 3 to 5 seconds. He goes, she did. Someone's going to have my back. She did. Right. And now Liz is furious. Right. And he goes, I don't know why she's mad. I told the truth. She doesn't think I have her back. Right. Nobody has their back on shit, but everybody has a copy of that tape. And have you noticed anybody see Matthew around lately? The
Nope.
last time I heard where Matthew was, you ready? It was a couple months ago in New Hampshire. Right. Right. Meeting with Sununu. Sununu had to know what we had. He goes, can you believe that son of a bitch catches me in the Pandora's box, puts me in that, and then I go to run for vice president to be president of the United States and another Bush with the run, and he's there at the brokered convention. How the fuck did that happen? Well, somebody's playing chess. Okay, ready? Why would you getting Liz to confess be a good thing? Or even a mission of yours? I'm lost. I wasn't a mission of mine. Shelby asked who the leak was and said someone in the room better have my back. And Liz spoke up and said she was the leak. You said you got Liz to confess. Why is that a good thing? I'm calling you right now. I'm going to speak to it. Right. So here's the thing. There's the tape, boys and girls. Michelle knows the tape. Matthew will have a tape. Matthew's missing. Matthew was in New Hampshire. Are you getting this? This was the plan. Okay, now hit again with the never. Oh, she's on this one. Mike was in my home. I understand how you felt. Now, listen, this is Matthew talking to Liz. I was in his home. Trust me. And over a top gay guy who wants me dead, who's running around with a gun. You can understand my position of getting the hell out of there. And let's put it that way. The next day we had the meeting and where they threatened me. Okay. Liz, you were so right about Stacy. Whoa. Don't like Stacy? Liz, we need that recording. Never. Wait a minute. Did you hear I don't have a recording?
Nope.
Never means I have it and you ain't seeing it. No one's seeing it. Well, wait a minute. Don't you understand this will help the RNC to understand Shelby and don't want a brokered convention? Oh, wait a minute. We're having a brokered convention. That's what I was saying. Harris, and then we're talking about the people involved in it. And it went back to Sununu and Haley's people. They were involved in the brokered convention with Flynn. Flynn was corruptly trying to move the delegates. That's what they were doing. Okay. Well, I guess we have plenty of evidence. Really? We have plenty of evidence of the brokered convention? Did any of you pinheads see it? Well, I guess I can only play the fact that I trust you. Isn't that a snake? But then, Liz, I'm going again labeled as the one who has the tape, just not you. Oh, you do have the tape. You just want to blame it on her. They all have it. So please, whatever the evidence you have, I hope you are protecting this convention. So that's Matthew getting his ass off the hook, putting it to Liz Harris. And believe me, you don't think Shelby Bush was wired? What about the boyfriend? Listen, if you ever play this, you can sell tickets for this. It's a confession on all levels, but it brings back Stacy, which they don't seem. So even Matthew said you were right about Stacy. You know what they were right about Stacy was? Let me see. Are we out of pictures, Qrash?
No. Well, yeah, but I'm going to show you something just to give you a break for 1 second. Just an interesting thing that I kind of made up. The connections to Michelle Moore.
Yes.
Everybody then to you.
She was the mailbox.
They're all going through her.
on, and then all of them. And when I'm talking to her, I'm talking to one. I know that they were connected. Everyone was connected.
We have the attorney that John Thaler.
Excellent point. Right.
So I just wanted to show that the connections, from her. Now, of course, we're connected, but we don't go to these other people. Now you do because you were on their podcast, but right. I just like she's the center of it all. So I just wanted
to became the mailbox.
Yeah.
She was putting the Elvira movie together, me to go to Tennessee. And then stop me from talking about Elvira. Stop to talk to me about Script Keeper. And
Yeah.
you see what happened with Ariel. And after that, she puts out the fact that she knows Ariel's CIA.
Right.
You know why? She doesn't want to get connected to Ariel if this thing goes south. And we had Ariel turn around and no one connected it to Arizona. So
Right.
now you know that meeting was there. Now you know even the CIA was there. Now, what I didn't share with you or with anybody is my conversations and direct messages right after the meeting with Stacy Burke. I felt it was my responsibility off of what I heard in that meeting to let her know what was said. And that's exactly what I did. So we had some basic conversations, and these are some of the direct messaging. There's a couple of points that become necessary to go over. Okay, Qrash, if you want to hit number one.
I'm putting them all in order here. We have a couple to go
Okay.
through. So
Okay. Okay, let me get through this.
I hope they're
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to read it from my pad, but
okay.
yeah, you're right. You're right on there. Okay. This is when you start. Okay. It says June 10th. Now remember, now I got there right around like June 1st, maybe a couple
A
of
little
days
bit
after.
before. I
Right.
think we're actually there. Yeah, before that, but I don't know. Maybe May.
Right. This was exactly after the meeting.
The
And
meeting.
then I reached out to Stacy Burke. Now there's some of this direct messages that I took out that seemed kind of dangerous to her.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm saying. All right, this is how it starts. I know it's all recorded. She talked about you. I had to get close and I did. She was to put out a press release Saturday. Nothing yet. I'm all in. That is Shelby Bush was supposed to put it Saturday. So it might have been the very next morning, would have been said. She was supposed to press release. They didn't see it. You know what they did instead? They had Flynn turn around. We're in trouble. And they reached out to Trump, which is why Trump knew something was going on in Arizona like the next day. That's how.
And just
I'm a
so
big,
people know, you are the blue, she is the gray. So just so people know
yes.
in this.
She's saying, I'm a bit confused. I think your messages got cut off. Hello. Nice to meet you. All right. Give me a day. I promise I'll call. It's important. I met with Shelby and Liz. I don't trust Shelby, and I will know about Liz. Liz didn't come up with the tape. I know about Liz. Now, that's when we should talk. Either way, I will call. This is what she sent me next. She sent me the fact that Bush and Harris were together. She went on to talk to me about they're all working for Flynn. They all set her up and went after her. Now you're going to find out why. Now you're going to find out where Joe Flynn and Victorian assholes turned around and broke into her house and tried to get her phone and her records and even spoke about, I heard Joe Flynn saying, giving her money to repair the house. Were they ripping the house apart? Okay. So there's the connection. So Stacy Burke, I don't believe, is surprised. All right, here's the next screenshot. This is right off the direct messages to me. This is the fact that Shelby Bush has a picture with Tory's crazy ass. Okay, no argument. Shelby Bush. Okay, now look at the end of it. Holy shit, this girl has her nose all in the audits. She was in Georgia too. She's BFF with Burns. Okay? So, in other words, again, now we got a Georgia audit. You get an Arizona audit. You see what I'm saying? We get a Patrick Burns. We get a Patrick Burns with Peter Peters. We get a Patrick Burns, in that meeting that I spoke of, and how Shelby took 700,000 from him. That he's a nice man, was working with the FBI, setting up Clinton. And you hear me say, are you stupid? That was on the tape. Listen to it. It was a setup. It's also giving her a license out. I was duped. The nice man fooled me for 700,000. Okay. Next. The important thing with next is this. Friday, I'm telling the people what happened in that room. I'm doing that podcast with Michelle. So I'm letting her know, Stacy. I'm also asking her to go on the show. She's suing them and not telling you. not the full story. Okay, again, this is what she sent me too, but this is connected. Look, Liz Harris, Mike Lindell, Liz Harris, Sidney Powell, and Patrick Burns. It's all connected. See, Shelby brought you up. Liz has a tape of the meeting. She's not releasing or sharing. She likes Burns. It was all Flynn. Okay, so that, okay, then it goes on. What did Shelby say? Both were working with Flynn and destroyed my reputation on his behalf. But now you want still motive. What they did was exactly what she said. But what was the motive to try to destroy her? Let's watch. That your evidence has, that you had evidence in a container, election fraud, and it was coming up. Liz was saying she saw the light, meaning I questioned her about Flynn. She goes, no, but and it turns out that that's exactly what happened and where the evidence was, in those bins. I did nothing whatever to deserve this. I am a very kind person, and I would have exposed both of them and all their lies and manipulation, but I didn't. They were both went out trashing me to the public. I did not trust either of them as far as I can see them. I agree. Watch Friday on Michelle Shore. Maybe some justice. Now, she doesn't trust them, but she didn't turn them in. Then why are they mad? And yet she said that Flynn sent them on her. So Flynn must have had motive. You're going to find out the motive in a second. I spent over $160,000 of my own money, much of it which I borrowed. All lies. It's all lies and grifting. Now think about this. What did they say? That she was having trouble with money? She's saying she had borrowed money. In that meeting, listen to the tape. The DOJ has it. We'll ask him for it. I prefer not to be brought up personally because some of the smears, like working with Flynn, has done enough damage. Meaning working with Flynn. She comes from them. She worked with them. That's how she knows the election in Arizona was fraudulent and what they did and why she collected the evidence. It also might have saved her life. I'm suing Flynn now. If you need evidence on Flynn, I will send it to you. I'd be more than happy to crucify Flynn. But what we will want is her to come forwards. So let's see. Sean and Jet representing, telling the judge that I was crazy. Why don't now? Joe Flynn's brother. They basically kidnapped me.
Mike Flynn's brother, Joe Flynn.
Yeah. Basically kidnapped me and held me hostage using one AP security team of former FBI and law enforcement. Remember the story? They said she called the cops. The cops were there. And then all of a sudden, these guys came in and they all left. They came in, they called the cops seen them and left. That's the power of Flynn. The Victorian guys, what'd they do? Steal evidence, steal her phone, except for she had a copy. I'm telling you, she might be one of the smartest players in this whole thing. They basically kidnapped me, held me for hostage. How do you get away with that? Next, this was Flynn's guy threatening me, and I went public with it. The lower half corner is a guy who was making threats, saying I would be killed if anything went public or anyone got sued and went to jail. His name is Mike Kinney. He's from the First Amendment Praetorian security team, which is protecting Flynn. If anybody knows what Praetorians were, they were the select soldiers that protected Caesar, meaning Flynn's Caesar. Okay. He's the First Amendment protecting Flynn. They are all former FBI, Secret Service, law enforcement. Remember now, all the morons that Flynn's working with, right? They're all what? FBI, Secret Service, law enforcement. I exposed them to the J6 committee. So I want you to hold that thought, boys and girls. I exposed them to the J6 committee. Now, Who was behind it? It was the DOJ, and Flynn was the instrument. Remember December 18th? We're going back there again because this is exactly that time period. She exposed them. Now, what do you think she had that could expose these people to the J6 committee? I don't know. Was it the audit in Arizona and how it was corrupted? You're damn straight. Is it the evidence she collected? You're damn straight. So she exposed them to the J6. Now, do you know why they broke into her house? You know why they took the phone? To get that evidence. You know who told them? The J6 committee. But I digress. Jesus Christ. They exposed them to the J6 committee and they ran with it, calling them a militia group, only to find out they were deep state. Hello. Now let's lock this in. The J6 committee not only took it, they ran with it. And they identified as a militia group and found out they were deep state. What made them deep state? Oh, we go on. Meaning they were all feds, CIA, FBI, including Flynn? Right. See, the subpoena above, when the J6 committee realized that the First Amendment Praetorian group was actually a bunch of deep state actors, and they sent a subpoena asking for proof, and they are active FBI, law enforcement, intelligence community running a black op. Hello, wait a minute. Let's remember Elvire. Special ops, all around Flynn. Where was Elvire? Oh, yeah, that's right. He was smoking a doobie in the Capitol. Remember? There was all an act. They were all intelligence, DIA, CIA, FBI, which also means that the insurrection was theirs. You were entrapped. You were lied to, as was President Trump. Let's go on. Next, you'll know the January 6th committee started backpedaling. Wait a minute. Remember Cheney? Remember? J6, they give them the information, they start running with it, targeting Flynn, they go, whoa, it's all intelligence, it's a back op. And all of a sudden they start backpedaling. Why didn't they put it and give it to you? Okay. Next, the J6 committee started backpedaling, and none of the First Amendment Praetorian guards were arrested. Right. Nobody got arrested. If you think Elvire got arrested, it's bullshit. None of them went to jail. Hey, Alex Jones go to jail? Joe Flynn? Patrick Burns? Sidney Powell? Anybody go to jail? No. Subpoenaed, asking proof. Flynn's security team were active FBI law enforcement. Okay, let me see. The next thing, the J6 committee backpedaled, and none of the First Amendment went to jail. I just realized something. I have an audio where Trump and Roger Stone's guy, Jason Sullivan, is telling people that they have all the evidence on all the Congress members who took bribes and state officials who certified elections taking bribes. That led to J6 when they were all planning that event where Trump was going to the Congress steps and expose the Congress member with taking bribes. Hello? Whose evidence proved that the Senate and Congress were taking bribes, and not only taking bribes, where the money was. I was delivering that, and she just turned around and said, that's what they had. That was he was going to do. Remember I told you Pandora's box, December 18th? Why did they stop me? Because it was the single open evidence that could have stopped the election. It could have come Trump as president. What would you have to do? Call out the Congress and the Senate for taking money. It turns out we were right there. Now let's keep going on. It was the Secret Service that intervened and stopped Trump from going to show the American people the evidence. What did I say? Show the American people. What if it was your evidence that he was planning on showing the people? It was exactly my evidence. She knew it was my evidence. She was connected to Carissa Ketchel, who took the evidence. You understand? She was working for Flynn on the insurrection. They didn't know it was my evidence. It was exactly what I was saying. It was exactly what I was posting. Flynn's not my favorite person. Obviously, I'm suing him. But putting all the pieces together, what if Trump was really trying to reveal to the public your evidence? And it was the Secret Service that intervened, that wouldn't let him go out and do it. We should ask Trump.
Yeah,
And
that
it
would
might
be
also
something
that
we need
Trump
to
never
ask.
saw the evidence. Who knows? But you see what I'm saying? How can the coincidences? How can this not be connected? Pandora's box, December 18th. Now we're back from that meeting. And then what happened with Stacy Burke? We find out that she gave that exact evidence with Flynn and that insurrection to the committee. And now she has this evidence here of with Trump having my evidence. Even crazy Casey Cassidy said that Flynn had my evidence and didn't give it to Trump.
That might have been the only thing she said that was not a lie.
Right.
I mean, Carrie Cassidy. Yeah,
Which is why it all has to be investigated. Let's not forget what happened after the Broken Convention. A short time after, they had the assassination attempt.
right.
And who would have benefited from that assassination attempt? Haley would be president right now, and Sununu would have been VP. The military-industrial complex and the big Bushes would have been in the White House once again. And you were never given a fair shot. What if I don't get is it would be just as easy for him to put it out on Truth or Social, unless Flynn is using it as his own get out of jail free card. Deals are being made, negotiations are being made. Let's not forget who held Trump in jeopardy, the DOJ. What happened with Jack Smith releasing the case? All I'm telling you is it's about actions. And what I'm saying is these actions is who's ever gone to jail? And now with Elon Musk being kind of pushed out, no more audits. Where do you think we were going? There was 100 senators. We couldn't audit, investigate each and every one of those. I mean, what? 100 people? They don't have a problem auditing you. And then you go to the Congress. When you find the senators, you go to the Congress. Then we get to go to governors and judges. You see, audits is what was working, which is why Musk had to be stopped. What did they do? Go after his business? What did they do with me? Go after my business. What are they trying to do? Destroy the man now? Destroy the man, destroy his message. I can tell you that he bought Twitter. And even though we're still maybe being screened and not getting anybody, it was better who had it. And by going to the audits were the right move. How much of his help got President Trump elected? There's going to come a time we're going to have each other's back. And the problem is, I don't see that with Trump.
Well, we're fighting about everything. Everybody's fighting about this person, that person. And, it's just everybody's fighting. Nobody's united.
Trump's reposting Roger Stone.
Yeah.
Trump's reposting that Biden died.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, he says, I'm not taking a salary, but opens up a Bitcoin company running as the president of the United States, who just might steer us into hell. Which is why all of a sudden now, Bitcoin might be what they're trying to direct us all. XRP, Bitcoin. One of the things that Elvire said in those comments was that he's going to be rich if XRP. Meaning, you know what? I feel like we're being steered there. Where our economy, you're looking at the stock market and saying, hey, everything looks good. Listen, you're 36 trillion down.
Trillion, yeah.
Right. Musk took a powder. You know why? Because they just added to it. He says, listen, we're pissing in the wind. I don't want no part of it. His last words to you, you're going bankrupt. What changed it? We just added to it. These tariffs, whatever you say, is a tax to you. No one takes the hit. You don't see Trump International hotels reducing their prices by half just so you take a hit. Hey, listen, he's telling you to get $2 instead of $3.
Yeah.
This economy's coming home to roost, and Musk knows about it. And listen, Musk was safe. Musk didn't need your money, just like I didn't need your money. I was safe. I was untouchable. No one wanted to mess with me. Rich and famous. But this is a fight to the end.
Well, I just wanted to make that clear. Alvire had said that there were special ops guys working for Flynn. And then Stacy kind of confirmed that. She said she found out they're Flynn is a black op operation.
And he called it special ops.
Right.
They're talking to Carissa, and she is too.
So it's just this huge, big circle. And it all connects.
It's an operation of insurrection instructed by the Department of Justice. It means our country ran the insurrection. They entrap people to put them in jail to end the movement of making America great again. Whether it's Donald Trump or anybody else. Listen, I didn't do this for politics. I didn't do this for any one person. I did it for the American people. And I am telling you, the Department of Justice, they have institutionalized our country. That's why this Medicaid and all of a sudden, United Healthcare, boom, all of a sudden they're in trouble with Medicaid fraud. That is cartels. What did they turn around and do? Oh, the casino with the horse racing in casinos. Oh, they're separating the casinos with the horse racing. Why? Because of the wire transfers. What comes up in horse racing again? Oh, they're going to shut down with immigration with horse racing. Who told you the cartel was sending them through the racetracks? I mean, is there anything that I've said in these 19 years? It could be 20.
20, yeah.
That isn't dead on. And what you just got here is Stacy Burke saying that my evidence with Trump. Exactly what they happened. She was working with the Flynn who took my evidence on that day. Why did they go after her? Because she gave the evidence to the J6 committee. They were taking it back. You know what she found out? The committee was corrupt. Then she went to sue them because she had evidence on them. And then once I went in there and got that brokered convention, that nailed it down. That was why Scott McMahon said, oh, he's not true. It's not anything. You know why? You can't blackmail if you hear the tape. You see,
Right.
he's a piece of shit. I mean, I don't care what is he running some cult in Arizona? I just read something where he believes men can have babies. I ain't shitting you. Look at,
I
I mean,
didn't see that. Come on now. Are you serious?
I am not kidding. It's on his page.
He's
I mean,
probably
this is
making
some
fun
weird
of it.
shit. This is a blackmail operation. So he puts it out there. Stacy can't say certain things. He does. Goes after Flynn. Remember, she's suing him. So she feeds him. That's the deep throat, so to speak. And then all of a sudden, he hears from about broken convention from her friends. No one told you. No one formed the meeting. Nobody stopped it. I did. And we have a tape, and I didn't hear it from those assholes. Stacy Burke then talked to me thereafter. And you can see some of the conversations we had. My evidence, J6 knew, Flynn's was the feds, was an operation.
That's a big piece.
Still an
That's a
operation.
big piece of evidence that that what she did as a witness. I mean,
Gigantic. You understand? The committee was in on it. The committee entrapped you. This is the same people who put people in jail with entrapment, knowing the people who led the J6 day were all feds,
yeah,
including Flynn. So in other words, the J6 committee proved it itself. Understand how important it is. It also connects with my evidence, and it isn't random. I was delivering my evidence right then.
right.
Then. So when they're saying Trump was trying to give it to them to tell the American people, who do you think that was? Give this to Trump and tell the American people. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
All of this is connected. If you sat down to understand this, you know how important it is? Listen, evidence, witnesses. And listen, you know what we do? We bring in the Pandora's box as soon as they go to December 18th. They go, why were they talking to you? Oh, I don't know. It's only the money laundering network that proves those congressmen and those senators were corrupt. He would have leveraged the Senate and the Congress to stay in office. What did I tell you? One way. Why did they stop it? Why did they reach out to me? Because it was the one way. I didn't have the delivery system. You know what they do? They gave me a delivery system, a guy named General Flynn. How's
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Which is always the plan. They gave me another delivery system, Michelle Moore.
Michelle,
How's
yeah.
that? You see, I have never betrayed any of them. What bad guy in 19 years have I called out that wasn't a bad guy? Who didn't turn around and be a cartel? Who didn't buy casinos, didn't buy hospital, didn't buy. I mean, each day it becomes more and more obvious. When Harry O'Plan put Planet Fitness, it was my evidence, my witness. That's Grendel. That's Anagos. And when they come up with Spofford again, That's Anagos. That's the cartel with the treatment center, the one that Pence was meeting. It is all connected. It is impossible not to be true. What I do is I look for an element, question mark, that questions anything. Because if that is in place and you don't know the answer, none of it is completed yet. I am telling you, everything that I ever find coming in fits the puzzle, fits the puzzle. Why did our numbers go up for like 350,000 in Arizona? It was to the meeting. Why was I getting met with CIA agents? And you know what? We talked about that guy. It was the perfect front that the CIA would have.
Yeah.
He told me a story. I can tell you this, Qrash. I'll tell them a story. I told him a horse story about how his best friend turned out to be the guy that I told the horse story that Bob Baffert sold a horse for 10 million that I mentioned on Michelle Moore. And he said he never saw Michelle Moore's show, but he knew that story.
He knew the story.
Sure you did. And then he wanted to know if I was getting any help, like Trump.
Money.
They
Money.
still
You
couldn't
got your
figure it out. Oh, they always put a little money on it. You know what I said? No, I'm all right. Which also screwed them up too. They're going, what the hell's going on? That's what's going on. That's what happened there. And that's why that thing with Ariel was connected with it. So was Michelle. Michelle would be turning in Ariel, who was complicit in the Arizona murder, because that goes back to why he announced all those politicians. It goes back to how he knew Planet Fitness, Gulfstream Park, right? All the things with James O'Keefe, money laundering in New Hampshire, and he's even credited me with all those pieces. But why was he doing the story of my life? Why was he was taking the evidence that Flynn had, they were using it as blackmail. And they were using me as that piece of blackmail. And you know what happens? You go to Arizona, you wind up dead, it becomes them. I become a martyr, and they turn around and say, well, they gave me all the evidence. Look what happened. The only question is, I'm not around to be questioned. And listen, they put me in a hellhole, 69 years old, no medication, no doctor. And they're doing the numbers too. Just so you know, you little bastards, I know. I know. They even send me a picture of my family at fucking Disney World.
Yeah.
I know. Stop fucking with me. I only go harder. But what we have here, and all these podcasters, all the things you've ever heard, you've never heard anything like this, nothing important like this. And this could end the game. This could stand up to people. And listen, hard times are coming. But this could turn around and say, it's our government. It's proof. They corrupted our elections. They own our courts. Our Justice Department is what runs us. The FBI is extortionists. The IRS are money laundering, blackmailers. I mean, they take your house in a second. You hear how aggressively they're going after our taxes? Really? Not theirs. No unaudited Hunter, if I remember right.
Nope.
All right, Qrash. Let's hope. Now, listen, I'm going to end it with a plan. I am talking to larger media situations, and I'm going to share what we've done here, and as I promised I would. In fact, I had a call early this morning who's somebody who worked in, let's CIA, it's a Secret Service kind of thing. And he just said, be careful. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I'm looking over your shit. Be careful, and hung up.
Yeah.
All right. But what I want to do is, for instance, let's target a couple guys like Tucker Carlson. This media is dividing. A few of them are starting to separate. Even Tucker's laughing at Patel and Bongino. Help us get to them. Send us this. Ask them to be, for me to be a guest. Let's leapfrog these bastards. Listen, we've got more with the right handle. Blow this up. This is proof our country, our intelligence was in on this insurrection, the whole thing. This proves it. The election fraud. In other words, all these election deniers said, put all that shit to center. It was our government that did it to all of us on both ends. So in other words, is something more important? They got a more show? Better show? More important evidence? So let's put them on the line. Let's give it to them and say, hey, listen, put up or shut up. Look what he has. And it is backed by evidence, all of it. all of it, including the Pandora's box. So when Trump says congressmen and senators, I can tell you how to get them. Who told them? In fact, they sold me to Arizona to do the same thing, except for to smoke me. Man, I hope I get to see this documentary. That's what they're promising on one end. I'm going, I ain't ever going to see that bitch. But it will. I guarantee you it'll happen. You see all those videos up on state of corruption, some of them years? How do you not go over there and go, what the hell? Do you remember how stupid everybody was then?
Yeah.
Corruption. You even said corruption. They said tinfoil hat. You couldn't even say it. And when you say the FBI, you go, what are you, crazy? Judges? Judges are corrupt? I mean, think about it. I mean, are we not waking up to an absolute free fall of hell? But I'm telling you it's possible. It's the outrage of this country. It's not President Trump. It's not any one person. It's us. It's our outrage. If you share this and know the proof, then you challenge. You want to see these guys squirm? Like I watched Patel and Bongino do an interview. They look like they're shitting themselves to me.
Yeah.
Maybe they should ask him if he knows Stu Peters again. So my point being is that how do you deny this? Drop it on them. And so if they don't do it, it tells you about them too. All we need is one breakout, because this is a story that gets out that never comes back.
Right.
It questions Flynn, broke a convention, the assassination, the money laundering while we're going broke. I don't know. Stop me when I miss something. I mean, courts, all of it, the plans. You want to go back to Sununu? You want to go back to Clinton's and the Bushes? That's what's in New Hampshire. That's in these money laundering men. That's in their foundations. That's why you haven't seen an Epstein list. It's one party, and you're not invited, as they say.
It's a big club. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Let's hope they understand what they're seeing.
Share it out.
Okay. All right, Qrash. Talk to you.